Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Mysterious Huntsman podcast. Yes, I have been taking way too many breaks lately, but unfortunately, my real job that actually pays me money has been keeping me busy. So anyway, let's get to it tonight. Tonight, I've got a very good friend with us, Bear Gaunt from Kentucky, but everyone calls him Bear. Barry is a researcher and an investigator of the utmost highest in the paranormal field. Just to give you a little background, he's a researcher at the Society of the Supernatural, which you can find on Facebook. He is also a radio co-host of Into the Fire radio show on Blog Talk Radio, which is incredible. You need to check it out. He's the managing director of Night Stalkers Paranormal Research, which is an incredible team for all your paranormal needs. And if that's not enough, he's also the state director of MUFON in Kentucky, which is the Mutual UFO Network. So let's get to it tonight, and let's welcome Bear to the Mysterious Huntsman Show. But first, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Mysterious Huntsman, a show where we encourage everyone to share their paranormal experiences with our online audience. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Premier Group LLC, and the product Hemp Paste for helping to change the lives of so many. Now, you've no doubt heard of CBD oil. Well, CBD is just one cannabinoid out of about 118 contained within the hemp plant. Hemp Paste uses the whole plant containing all 118 cannabinoids and natural terpenes without the harmful extraction process, so you get the full benefit of the plant. Most CBD oils on the market today only contain about 2 to 3% CBD. That's it. Hemp Paste contains at least 17 to almost 20% CBD, plus all of the other properties within the plant. People tell us that their PTSD, depression, anxiety, OCD, joint pain, spasms, and many other conditions have either greatly improved or completely gone away using hemp paste. If you would like more information on this amazing product, please email me at mysteriousHuntsman@gmail.com. You owe it to yourself to give it a try, and you'll be glad you did. Hemp paste is perfectly legal and meets all local, state, and federal laws. Now, let's get into the show. Hey, Bear, this is Paul with the Mysterious Huntsman Show. How are you doing, man?
Hey, Paul, I'm doing great. Honored to be on your show tonight. I thank you for inviting me. It's awesome.
Well,
how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to us getting together, which, we've been trying this for a month or so, but either you've been so busy or I've been busy or out of town. But
that's the way it goes, isn't it? What we do in our business. So, but hey, we got a good opportunity tonight, so let's get her done, man.
It sounds good. And I know we were speaking earlier about how we first met. It was at Angelia Shear's house when we had the night with Travis Walton. And like I told you, I knew...
And Ziggy Ziggamar, W. Ziggamar. So, yeah, just a great, it was a great night, too. And Angelia is such a special person. And I'm blessed to be able to have the friends that I do have. And Angelia is up there on the top of the list. And we share a common bond. Both being state directors for MUFON, myself here in Kentucky and her in Tennessee. And we also have our own paranormal groups, and we also do our own investigations. And we just really enjoy getting out together and doing things. And it's a pleasure to be able to sit down. And I've met Travis before and Deb, so it was really nice to see everybody again and enjoyable. And it was a great setting too, because it's very rare that you get to have the opportunity to have those two great people almost like one-on-one with a small group like we had. And it was just really super.
Yeah, no, it was a highlight of, well, I hate to say my life, but it was a highlight because I've been following those two and their stories for so long. And I've been interested in the whole UFO phenomenon, and that, especially Travis's story, hit me a long time ago. And so to actually meet up with Angelia and actually get to meet you guys, and then get invited to with an intimate meeting with Travis and Deb that night. It was just phenomenal. I won't ever forget it.
Yeah, and it was great, and that's the whole part. That's a good thing about the people that you've met and that we know. We love to get together, spread the word. We love to help, people who are wanting to learn, want to know more about it. We've got to be able to give ourselves to them, because that's where it's all going to go. We can't. I'm not going to be around forever. I joke about it all the time. I want to stay around as long as I can be, but at the same time, man, we want to be able to give back, and I love helping other people out, and getting involved with it. So anytime you want to pick my brain, you're always welcome to there.
Oh, I appreciate that. You're probably asking more than you know then. So, and I have to say, I mean, I think you and I may have mentioned it before, maybe at one of the last MUFON meetings, but it's like, it's getting easier for us to come forward on a lot of this stuff, because everybody is opening their minds a little bit more to it, to the overall picture. They're not just as closed-minded as they used to be, and that's kind of good for us. And it's probably because of teams like yourself and Angelia's with Pear Shear. I mean, just all the guys that's been on the front lines and the boots on the ground. They've been doing this for so long without any kind of recognition or anything, but now people are saying, "Hey, maybe these guys are onto something,"
Yeah, well, and it's nice to hear that, and I thank you for it. I know Angelia would thank you also, and so everybody else that does it. We're not we are what we call the boots on the ground. Basically, those are the ones that are. We're not the armchair quarterbacks that are sitting at home doing investigations and looking at stuff and calling it what it is. We actually go out there, do the interviews. We go out and sit with the people. I love to do abduction cases. That takes me way back, because at one point, and for many years, I was involved in the abduction scenario myself. And so it's a pleasure to be able to help people with the trauma and everything else and do that. Angelia has also done the same thing. There's a lot of people in here. Eric Mitchell, a gentleman that I did, he contacted me about 7 years ago, and I worked with Eric, and now he helps others, and that is just fantastic. And he's also my co-host on our radio show, Into the Fire, which is just, I was doing well too. And we just have some good times. It's a pleasure to be able to surround yourself with people who are moving forward, that are a little bit lower on the scale. There are so many great investigators out there that are boots on the ground investigators, but you don't hear anything about them, because a lot of people get shadowed out by the ones that are out there trying to write books and do the conferences and all that other stuff. But I used to joke, and most people always joke. First time I ever met Chase Gillespie, and we were in Tennessee, and Chase used to live in outside of Memphis, and Tennessee MUFON is having a big a conference down there, and we were part of that. But I have a bad habit. I smoke cigarettes, so I go out in the smoking lounge and ask them. But that's where we meet all the cool people, because most of the people are there to hear the stories and everything else. And the people that sit in the front room are always like the ooh and ah kind of people that want to hear the shock and gore,
Right.
But the other people that are around are afraid to talk to people and everything else. And that's where you'll find them, for some reason, sitting outside in the smoking area, because half the cases you read anymore are like, well, I walked outside and I had to have a cigarette, because most people don't let you smoke inside their house. You can't smoke inside a restaurant anymore. You can't do anything. And then when I was a kid, you could fly around on a plane smoking a cigarette. You could do it in your office. You could do everything, so it's a lot different now. But so we're sitting outside, and we got a bunch of people around us, and Chase walked up to me and she says, I don't know who in the heck you are, but I got to meet you because everybody in the world's sitting there talking to you. So that's how Chase and I met. We've been good friends ever since, and I love her to death, and she's done a lot of good things in the community and the UFO world, and also in the paranormal world. She's just a go-getter. She's a special individual.
Yeah, she's got a great resume, great stories. I mean, she's one of the tops.
Oh yeah, awesome, and she wrote a super book about it called Admissible. And so true of what we need to make each of our cases. And basically the concept of that is taking that case and making it so it would withstand up in a court of law. So the idea of it is making it admissible. So you get all the information, all the data, everything, keep the flow going. And so you have a surefire, solid case at the end. And that's what we need more of. And that's what we need a lot more of, in fact, in this, in our fields, and in all kinds of fields, in the ghost field, the Bigfoot field, the UFO field. And that's the thing that, I don't know how you feel about it. I've always thought that they are all of them are intertwined. That's why we do all of them. You know, we're going to do the abductions, the UFO cases, the haunting cases, the strange creature cases, because they are all intertwined.
Right.
You know, I've been to a lot of paranormal investigations, and you start asking all the questions, and it turns out to be, hey, guess what? I saw a UFO back this time. And then you start asking about it, and what happens after they see or have a sighting like that? They start seeing orbs or in their homes. They have odd anomalies happening. They see shadow figures, all that stuff, because that veil's lifted and it all starts coming together. So it's an interesting aspect. I don't know if you've looked at it yet or not, but if you haven't, please do, because I think you'll find it very interesting, Paul.
No, I have actually. I mean, I haven't had that many shows under my belt as far as the Mysterious Huntsman, but it seems like, you know, when they start telling me one story, they start going into, well, yeah, I saw these orbs or these strange lights out in the woods before we started seeing this cryptid activity, and so now rather than, you know, I don't want to ask them leading questions, but I try to go around. I try to fish around it to see if they'll tell me without asking, hey, so you've seen lights in the sky? Have you seen any signs of Bigfoot? Have you seen any shadow people? Have you seen this, and this? But I try to go around that just to see if they'll give me some of that, and they almost always do. So,
yeah, that's it. I mean, all you have to do is ask them, hey, what else in the paranormal have you found? I mean, have you had other experiences? You know, and they'll say, like, what do you mean other experiences? I mean, like, well, did you see ghosts when you were a kid, or have you ever seen a UFO, or did you have a Bigfoot encounter? You know? And
right.
It takes off from there. And then they really start to lay it out. So,
yeah, it's a good point.
It's always important stuff.
Yeah, and I find that, you know, you can't ask too many questions. And I know when I was in law enforcement, I'd spent about a year in criminal investigation and about 2 years in narcotics, and then the rest of the time was on patrol. But, you know, you can't ask too many questions, and, you know, it's just one of those things. If you want to build a case, you have to build it. You have to lay it out. Otherwise, that court, you know, the court or the jury's not going to buy it. They're process thinkers. So you have to. What's that?
I said, you're perfect. You're right on line. That's the whole thing about it being admissible.
Right,
so
right.
If you take all your cases and you want to try to make them all admissible, then that's you're going to be doing the best investigation you can possibly do.
Right, and I know on the same token, I've also found out too, sometimes you have to ask a lot of questions, but when you do, you know, the best thing you can do sometimes is just shut up and then let them talk. and let the witness just keep thinking and keep processing, because little things will open up to them. And if you keep bombarding them with questions, they'll lose train of thought. Then they'll leave out that little minute detail that could break the case. So, ask your questions, ask your questions, and then let them talk.
Excellent point. And you always have to give them enough. And when they're going to shut up. It's kind of like feeding the fire. You're sitting around a campfire, right? And all of a sudden the fire starts to go down and starts getting low. You got to throw a log on, so throw another question out.
Right. That is a good point.
Got to catch on fire.
And if you notice too, it may work if you put too big of a log on there. It's not going to catch up.
It's not going to catch on fire at all. No, you can't blow them away. You just got to, you have to. It's an art.
It is,
and,
absolutely.
It's just like the whole back end of it. And people ask me about investigating and everything else, and I tell them, you know what, the true matter of the investigation, you took it down, and this is my opinion. You break it down. You know what? It's research. So you got like 70% of research, right?
Right.
And then the fun part is the 20% when you're doing a full investigation, but you never want to go to your investigation until you've done all your research, because that's going to happen when you're there and you're trying to speak to a spirit or everything else. You want to know as much as you can about the property, and you don't want to go, hi, is anyone here? You want to ask them questions that are directed by your research. That's what, most of these spirits and entities or whatever are going to try to tell you a story. Be respectful, be that way. And then you're going to get a lot more from them. The stuff about, and I see it on TV and everything else. And look, folks, I don't watch the shows anymore. There's some great hunters and great people that have done some shows, and I've had the pleasure of working with them and talking to them and everything else. But nowadays, so many people will just watch it and they go, hey, I can go out and do that, and they get in trouble. This is a very dangerous field, and I know that you know that also. When you step outside and you start dealing with some of this stuff, you've got to be prepared all the way around. Because it is being a paranormal investigator and being boots on the ground puts you in a lot of different places and a lot of scary things.
Yeah, absolutely. I know years ago when myself and some other police officers, we thought I'm talking years ago. This is probably, I've got videos from us doing investigations started around 2000 or 01. This was even before some of the, the Ghost Hunters TV shows, some of these came on. We thought we'd go out and try and treat it like a crime scene or whatever. We were, it was just fun times at the moment. And there were times that we kind of got ourselves in trouble by not knowing what we were doing, not researching. And I know personally, there were some things that happened around my house as far as attachments that could follow you home or whatever. I had to pray this out of my house, because there was just some crazy things happening, and it was getting kind of dangerous. Then we learned how to do it the right way. So
yes, and you're 100% right. That's one of the things that we look at, and believe me, folks, it's true. These things can follow you home, and the more you deal with them, the more you learn certain things about them, and you learn how to deal with it. Knowledge brings protection. Knowledge brings better evidence. Knowledge brings a lot of different things. So the more that you're aware of what's your back around you and everything else, and the more you learn, the better you become. That's all it is. You've got to use everything when you're out there, because you never know what you're going to come across. And we help out a lot of people, a lot of other cases, a lot of other teams will come and say, hey, will you come and help us, and will you give us your thoughts on this? And we gladly do that. But sometimes we kind of get lambasted because we're taking their word for what they're saying. And all of a sudden we get there and it's something else, and then we have to immediately change plans.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, these things travel home with you. They do some amazing things, and it's an everyday thing in our world, and we just have to we deal with it. And that's why people, we at Octagon Hall. I volunteer down at Octagon Hall, and I help Billy Bird out there. He's the executive director, and yes, I'm kind of like the assistant director there. But we do the novice hunts there. We also there with a lot of times during the day with Billy, and we're giving tours, and we're talking about the ghosts there at the home. And people are always going, well, can they come home with you? Can they do this? And you got to just tell them the truth. That yeah, they can definitely come home.
Yeah,
with
you bet they
yes,
can.
They can hurt you too.
Whoever they are, whatever they are, they absolutely.
Right, exactly. I'm one of those type of people that are not into the big demon thing. That's kind of like a catchphrase nowadays. I'm a demonologist. I can get rid of these things. Or I'm this and I'm that. I'm not cutting anybody down. But let me tell you something. If you ever really, truly come into a demonic situation, you'll be lucky to get out of there with your life, and because they can really seriously hurt you. They can kill you. And a lot of times, I haven't been around too many of them. We have lately we get some bad cases, but I always tell people, you know what? If you're a bad person in life, you're going to be a bad person in death. And there's tricksters out there. There's other things out there. There's elementals. There are all kinds of different things. There's jinn are really. We don't have too many of them here, but a lot of the guys that went over, Desert Storm, and were in the Middle East, went into some of these caves and everything else. They had the opportunity to see some of those and bring some of that stuff back also. So
right.
we do deal with it over here every once in a great while.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, you were talking about Octagon Hall, and I know that place is, I think you guys had you had one night where you did like a trifecta that there's been reports there of Bigfoot or cryptid activity, UFOs and ghosts. And you guys a while back, didn't you have a night where you investigated all three there? And I mean,
we have. And,
you had some good reports, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, we do get some reports. Octagon Hall is a very strange area. It is extremely paranormal. It used to be a 1,500 acre property. It goes back in the early 1800s. It's probably most of the records around this area when Simpson County is where Octagon Hall is now. It used to be part of Warren County. Simpson County was made out of Alvin County, Logan County, and Warren County. And they gave up pieces of land to be able to do that. And then the corporation called Simpson County and took over. And then that happened, I think, in the late 1820s. But before that, it was Warren, and where the hall sits would have been Warren County. But a lot of the, going back to the property, a lot of the people who were in the Revolutionary War got land grants for being in the Revolutionary War. This is probably a land grant property. It was a 1,500 acres thing. The reason why we have some difficulty with the history of it is because after the war between the states, after late 65, there must have been trying to be some land grabs and everything else, because every one of the courthouses that we just mentioned, like Warren County, Simpson County, Logan County, and Allen County, all burnt to the ground all in the same year.
Oh, wow.
And of course, a lot of records were lost at that time. So,
right.
And then it carries on beyond that. But so you really got to do some digging. But it's out there still. Unfortunately, there's nobody living from that time. Grandparents and everything else still know some of the stories and everything else, but we have a pretty good detail about what's been going on in Octagon Hall. It's a fabulous home. It's an 8-sided building on Octagon. It was built pre-Civil War, so it's known as an antebellum home. And it was actually built by Andrew Jackson Caldwell. He was into leather. He had a facility in Russellville, Logan County, where he made saddles and everything else. In fact, if you ever get into Russellville, the town square in Russellville is named after the Caldwells. Caldwell, one of the Caldwell's nephews, John, worked there and also became a senator and a congressman from the area. So he's highly revered there. He also had a place in Auburn, still in Logan County, and then he had his home here in Simpson County, the Octagon Hall. And beautiful, beautiful home. It has 3 stories inside of it, 4 rooms on each floor, and about 4,000 square feet. It's an architectural dream. If you haven't been here, please come and do it. It's got a lot of Civil War history to it. We did have 9,000 Confederate soldiers that were here. They were driven out of Bowling Green by heavy artillery shell. A lot of them came there wounded. They did major surgeries at that house. You can imagine 9,000 men on a piece of property.
Yeah.
And it was quite a brutal time. And not everybody made it out. And then all the generals and everything stayed inside the house and then stayed outside, of course. But they formulated plans, and what they did is they actually split the forces at the time. So they took 4,500 to Nashville, and the others went to Shiloh. And we know what happened to both of those. And the Kentucky Six at that time was just Kentucky Six, but after it went to Shiloh, it became the Orphan Brigade because of what has happened here after the Union came through and installed martial law. And 2 days after the Confederates left is when the Union came to the Octagon Hall. And there was 5,000 of them there. That was some pretty rough times for the family. You can just imagine what went on. And everybody's imagination to go good. And I don't even think you can touch it. But they did do some terrible things to the family. I'm surprised the house stands. But back then, in the early years of the war, they were giving quarters to Masons. So, and Andrew Jackson Caldwell was very high up in the Masonic Lodge. And he actually used the hall as a Masonic meeting house before the war. So, kind of interesting. So, it's got a lot of history.
I was going to say.
A lot of history, but a lot of tragedy, too, buddy. And it is haunted.
I know I keep watching you guys up there doing investigations and thinking I have to go, but I never make it a point. But this year I'm going to get up there before the year ends, and I've got to come up there with you guys.
It'd be my honor to have you come up and spend some time with us and do an investigation with us. And you mentioned the Bigfoot thing, and you mentioned other the UFOs and everything else. And yes, I've got a picture of the backyard of some UFOs. In fact, I was there this weekend with a great team. They invited me to stay for a little while. Some friends out of Clarksville, Tennessee, third round paranormal. And they were just having a good hunt, and they invited me to stay. So I went out there, left and came back and stayed there for a while. And I was running some of my equipment out in the back by the slave cemetery. And I just was reviewing it a little earlier today, and I've got some weird flashing lights in the sky out there that are stationary, and they're there for a pretty good while. So I'm very interested in looking to see what that may be.
Yeah, that is interesting. I know I want to get up there because it seems like Kentucky almost always has something going on with the paranormal. There's either dogman sightings, Bigfoot sightings, UFO sighting. I mean, the whole state has got everything. So
Well, yeah, it goes back in time because even the tribes of the time, they hunted this area and everything else, and Kentucky was a very mysterious place for them. There's a lot of things going on, but one of the things that I always try to inform people about is that the 37th parallel. There's a lot of paranormal things that happen in the 37th parallel.
Oh yeah.
Well, the 37th parallel, Octagon Hall sits at latitude 36.5.
Oh really?
Yes, and
That's close enough.
And Mammoth Cave is at 37, and so you go a little bit farther, so you're at 35. So if you're within one of each side of it, and the line of Kentucky and Tennessee come very close to that area, and a lot of anomalies have happened there, and it's that latitude runs all the way around the world, of course, and all those locations that is known as the paranormal hotspots, and even the UFO capital of the world. People don't really realize. We think Kentucky for the size of it. We always say, geez, New York has a lot of cases. California has a bunch of cases. Yeah, by the amount of people that they have there, they get more reports than anything else. But actually, when you break it down by population, Kentucky is known as the sixth most reported state by population. There's more UFO sightings in Kentucky by the population. That's how you look at it, to really give it an honest thing. So in the top 10, you're going to see some weird stuff in Kentucky. That's all I can tell you. And I have those my days here.
I bet. And you guys have. You had the. I forget what year it was, but you've had the crash with the UFO by a military pilot years ago.
January.
I knew you knew
January 7th, 1948, right after the Roswell event. It's an interesting case. It's called the Mantell case.
That's it. Yep.
Yes, Thomas Mantell, and he was doing some ferrying back. He was quite the war hero and a very excellent pilot. And they were down in North Carolina picking up some planes, 4 P-51s. They were bringing them back to Goddard Field up by Louisville. And as they were coming back, Goddard Field had got reports of a large ball moving through the sky, and they were moved off that run to go and take a look at whatever it was. Mantell and his men followed him. One guy went back. The other two gave off, and it's kind of like they turned around and went back. They were low on fuel to get weapons. The story is changes a lot. Let's say that. I'll give you what they say. They went back for fuel, and one went back for weapons also. But he kept on going. Very good pilot, and they say that he got above 25,000 feet where the air was done, didn't have any oxygen or anything else, and he passed out, and that's what caused his crash. I don't actually believe that. We did a lot of studies on that. So it is a very interesting case. We did some interviews with some people that were there younger at the time. There are only 2 remaining people that we know of that are in Simpson County now that are still living that were involved in that. And extremely interesting case. We've been out to the property site. The sign for it is right on 31W at exit 2, right by the Cracker Barrel. You and I were talking about Cracker Barrel. There's also the tourist thing for Simpson County is there, and the plaque for him is sitting right out there. The interesting thing about Mantell is that he was born in Franklin, Kentucky, stayed for one day, and then was taken out with his mom and dad after he was born. And then as he comes back on January 7th, 1948, and dies. He also died in Kentucky and never lived in Kentucky, never spent any time. He was born and died at the same spot in Franklin, Kentucky.
Wow.
So that's an anomaly in itself.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, and I know you know about the Hopkinsville, Kentucky case about the entities that attacked a family one night.
The 1955 case of the the Little Green, what they called the Little Green Men.
Oh,
and Geraldine Sutton, part of the member of the family, and who's done the book. And in fact, they have an annual Little Green Men Days up there. It always happens in August. That's just passed just recently, where they celebrate all that. They have a real nice little fair and everything else, and she talks. And last year, I think, was the first year that they actually opened it up where you could actually go and see where the old house was. Of course, it's not there any longer, but see a little bit about the Sutton family and what they went through in their ordeal there. So,
yeah,
very big cases. Kentucky's got some really big cases. You know, we have that. The Mantell, we have that. We have the Stanford case where the three ladies are coming home and they're abducted on the way up. Very major case. And then we've got the train, UFO hit by a train in Paris.
Oh, yes.
Paintsville. So, yeah,
yep.
another great one. And then we also have the Screaming Woman in Moorhead, too. So, and there's stuff happens all the time out here. Kentucky's a wonderful place and a paranormal mega. And we also have the underground cave systems and everything else. And there's a lot of oddities there, too.
Yeah, it's another whole show, the Mammoth Cave system.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're not kidding. Exactly.
But
exactly. Plus we have an odd variety. You know, we have a lizard man. We have a sheep squatch. We've got all those things, and we even have a turtle man.
Oh, I've actually seen him.
Yeah.
Oh, is his name Ernie? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I would. Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to meet him and hang out with him sometime.
Yeah.
And you know, he's actually had. I've seen him report a Bigfoot sighting.
Yes.
I think he and his mom both, like years ago, had a very good Bigfoot sighting, and I think on his property. But
well, there's a lot of amazing sightings going on up here, and you know, we pulled a very large. We found a very large footprint on the Hall property back a few years ago. We've had investigators do it. In fact, I got an interesting picture from last time a team from Chattanooga was at the Hall not very long ago, and I said, "We want you to look at this picture." And I looked at it and I went, "Holy cow! I don't know. I mean, it is definitely something. It is standing outside the wood line. It's extremely tall. It has extremely long, shaggy hair. Is it Bigfoot? Don't know. But it is definitely something that's on camera."
Right.
You know, we've also even, you know, we even have to warn our people because we've actually physically seen and captured cougars on the property with trap cams. You know, they do move around the area. They have a very large area, so there's a lot of different things that we see and have out there. It's interesting. I did some studies on the Hall one time where I mapped out all the ancient Indian sites. There's a lot of Indian sites in Kentucky and burial mounds and everything else. And I took the ones from Newark, the Octagon set up in Newark, Ohio, the Serpent Mounds, and then the next one that's closest to us is the Pinson Mound down in outside of Jackson, Tennessee. And draw a straight line as a crow flies right through all of them, and you're going to find that it runs directly. That line will run right over Octagon Hall's property.
Oh, neat. Wow.
So is there ley lines there, or is there stuff like that? We don't know. It's something we have to look into, and we're still looking at it. We are a nonprofit. We're a 501c. We don't take money from the government or the state. It's just a labor of love by the people that hold the 501c, and we don't. We do everything by donation. We charge $5 a day to tour the building. And right now, we've spent some lot of time. Billy and I have both been sick this year, and we've had some great people come in, help us out. Some of the wonderful girls that we have come in there and are docents for us and everything else. They've done some great stuff. They were at Cinda and Deb and a few other people, Christy and Jody from Red River Paranormal since Saturday out there. Kristen came out, but so there's some really great people that are cleaning up the hall and doing some stuff, and we appreciate that so greatly. So we're trying to save 173-year-old building so that other people can enjoy it. So it takes a little work when you got a building that old.
Right. So, yeah. Well, no, that's amazing that everyone's stepping up to do that.
Oh yeah, it's a great place though. It is a beautiful place.
And I know there are so many hours that we could talk about everything across the board, and I hate to stay on Kentucky, but I was going to tell you, I actually have one of my earlier shows, I had a couple on from Kentucky, I think just outside of Louisville, but they have been seeing some UFO activity around the Red River Gorge. I guess maybe is that going back toward Lexington? And they've invited me up in the fall, I guess, when it gets a little cooler to hike up to this bluff. But I'm excited about that because they've given me some really great details on what's going on with them. It's like,
yeah.
No, I was going to say every time they go up there, they almost have a really close encounter. They're seeing things, they're hearing things, and they're one of the main ones that have kind of turned me on to this cryptid activity connection with, because they're seeing aircraft or lights.
Right.
And then they've also heard almost the same day or the next day after they camp, they've heard like screams and howls down in the valley of just, so, I mean, we're trying to figure out a time when I can get up there. But yeah, I am going soon.
If you want somebody to tag along with you, I'll be more than happy to. And stop down and coordinate with Angeline, and we'll all come up and do it with you. We'll all help out.
That'd be awesome.
That's what we love to do. That's what we're about. River Gorge area and the National Bridge area. Kentucky is always well known for that area. We have a lot of underground mines that have been closed off there. Strip mines have been closed down. There is some rumors about the government doing that, all that area out there. And again,
so you've had reports there, right?
Yeah. Guess where you're going to be at? You're going to be right darn in the middle of the 37th parallel again.
Wow.
So that whole area there, we have Middlesboro down in the far corner, down by Cumberland Gap area. That whole area was a basin that was made out of a meteor strike. A large meteor dip is dipped in thousands of years ago. But the activity out in that area and around that area is fantastic. It's just crazy. We have cryptids reports coming from caves, three-toed individuals, short people. We've had those documented. I've worked on those before. It is a very highly interesting area to be in. Plus, you're in the wilderness. You're in the Appalachian, parts of the Appalachian Mountains. Same thing goes with West Virginia. I'm from West Virginia, and golly, you just don't know when you go out in the woods out there. You can get lost in a minute, and you can just walk for miles and miles and miles. People don't know how vast it is. And some of these times when you get in there, and, we've got Daniel Boone National Forest right here in this smack dab in the center of Kentucky that runs all the way, and in that you have National Guard and several other things that are all parked within that area. So there's all kinds of wonderful things and great places to go, and we've gotten some very good reports. I've seen some very good video just coming out lately on 2 cases that we just got this week up here in Kentucky. So very good stuff. Very good stuff.
Sound like I need to move my shop to Kentucky.
Let me tell you, my friend, Tennessee's got just as much. I'm going to tell you that much, as you know. And you know, and Angelia, she'll tell you the same thing.
Oh yeah.
We just like to stomp the ground, and we're the ones that will go out and sniff the dirt and kick the dirt and dig up around, do the research, to be able to find out more and more what's going on. If we can get you involved in that, man, I'll be happy to something like that.
Well, I'm just trying to.
Your background as in law enforcement and everything else, you're natural.
Well, I try. I love it. And I think if someone that just wants to do it and just thinks they can, or they have, like, they just almost like you're talking about, an armchair quarterback or a weekend warrior, but it's different when someone has a passion for it, because you don't stop. You don't stop.
No, you're right.
You can't get enough.
You're exactly right, Paul.
You can't get enough of it. It's just, I've been like this my entire life, and it's kind of why I wanted to. What's that?
Believe me, man, I understand, because you're telling me my life, from when I was young to this whole time. This is what I've spent I have the pleasure of being able to do what I love to do now. Yeah, I worked, and yes, I still did this during my careers and everything else, but now I have the pleasure to be able to spend it doing what I thoroughly enjoy and love to do. And I tell a lot of people get, they get certified as a ghost hunter or as a UFO investigator or all this stuff, and they do it for different reasons. One of it is probably just so they have the idea, they say, hey, I'm a certified investigator.
Right.
Their ego gets in their way a little bit, but I can tell you right now, not everybody is cut out to be an investigator. It's born into you. You have that, just like you're talking about. If you have that passion and you don't mind beating the doors and everything else, and I'll give you an idea. I have a truck that's, I bought a used truck, replaced my other one, 4 months ago. Now, in 4 months, I put 20,000 miles on my vehicle. I go a few places.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it sounds like it. Well,
but that's what you got to do. You got to be able to go out. You got to be able to do that and everything else. So it's enjoyable.
Oh yeah,
because we're always searching. We're always looking at it. And one of the great things about it is the camaraderie of the people who are the true field investigators. They like sharing their information with others. We're all looking for answers. We have a community that we can bounce things off of.
Right.
It's not the kind of community. It's not the kind of community that once the information takes it and goes writes a book about it or whatever. No, it's the kind of people that will look at it and say, "Hey, that's interesting. Let me see what I can find out here and here," and we collaborate all together. And that's what this world needs. That's what it's all about, man. We're all one.
Yeah, and it's just like, I remember when I was a detective on the force, once a month we would all get together with the local, even just a couple of counties. We would all get together and have like a big breakfast one morning, and we would all bounce. We would bring up our cases that we have, and what we would do was, everybody would just collectively say, well, this is what I think you got going on, or maybe I ran into this person here. They're maybe connected with this guy. So, it helps so much to bring all different ideas, all different theories. It just helps to bring like-minded subjects together, so you can kind of get to the bottom of some of this. It's just it's a huge deal to do.
Oh, it is. And the more people you get around you, the more people it is, and you bring them into it. That's how you're going to find more information. You're going to get more cases. You're going to get that kind of stuff, because when you deal with the community and you're open and you have a meeting here or there, you do this, that's how you find out your other stories. Because a lot of times we may have someone that comes in and tells us about a UFO story, or we may have someone that comes in and will say, I've got this happening and I need you to come investigate your home or my home and see what's going on. And that's what it's all about. And that's, we're just out to help people and to give them ease their mind and be able to get them. And there's a great satisfaction in being able to help people like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I just
so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you some questions. You mind?
Not a bit. I'll try to answer them.
What do you think about the Tic Tac deal and all that wonderful stuff with Stars to the Academy and all that stuff coming out in their shows and everything?
When it first came out, I was thinking, this sounds promising. It sounds maybe we're starting to go through some soft disclosure, maybe. Mm-hmm. And then part of me also kind of sort of now thinks, are some of these people in it to make money, or are they just in it for the spotlight? So I'm kind of appreciative of a lot of things coming forward, but then again, I look at motives sometimes, or I see how far they want to go or how far they want to sell their soul, basically.
Right, exactly. And that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point.
You got to follow the money sometimes, that
is always follow the money. That is the sure thing.
Which that's my old cop brain in me. But I don't know. I think it's exciting, and I think the Tic Tac video is incredible. I think it's awesome that the pilots have come forward to talk about it, even the Go Fast video. And I didn't really there was a lot of it that I was kind of questionable about, and I don't know if I should even talk about it even on this little small time feeble podcast that I've got going on. But I've got a friend that contacted me a while back just to catch up, and long story short, we were talking about Foo Fighters, the band. We were talking about that, but he says, hey, and this guy is he's military intelligence, retired 25 years, has been all over the place. So we were talking about the band. He said, hey, by the way, do you know where the term came from? I said, man, do you know who you're talking to? Of course I know where the term Foo Fighters came from. And he said, well, he said, well, I got an interesting story for you. He said, I was on the USS Nimitz. I said, hold it. I said, what? I said, what year were you on there? He said, we did some touch and goes there several times, just in between missions. And he said, I was on there for a few years between 02 and maybe 05, 06, something like that. I was like, well, that's perfect timing. So knowing that this kind of took place maybe in 04, I think it was, but he's not I hope I'm not talking way too much. I'm never going to give his name, but he was actually, and I'm not going to say where he was on the Nimitz, but he was in an area to where they are very privy to the top secret information that goes on for everything. And he said he was in there and doing some work, computer work, case notes, all this kind of stuff. He said he just happened to look over somewhere else and saw a file that was, I think he said it was like a UFO / they're calling them something different now, like a UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. I think that's what
exactly. Yeah.
But exactly. He said he saw it on another screen. He said, what in the world is a folder labeled that doing here? In this room. And he said, well, I'm not going to look at it anymore. So he went out, went to the bathroom. He came back. Curiosity got the best of him. He said, And when he came back, that folder was gone off the screen completely. And he said it just always troubled him because he always thinks about me when he's out there doing stuff because I'm always been the go-to crazy friend, but
right.
He said he just never has told me about that. And I'm like, he said, plus he's heard some things while he was on board from some other guys, but we didn't really get into all that. I didn't want to talk to him long over the phone about that. But But I plan on getting in touch with him soon. But I'm sorry that was a long story. But
oh no, it's a great story. In fact, I'm glad you got and I'm glad I got to hear it. I'm glad you told it. I'm sure your fans on your show are going to enjoy that also because that's what it's about. We hear a lot of these stories. You talk about the Foo Fighters, talk about all this other stuff, and I've had the opportunity to interview some people that were involved in some stuff, deathbed confessions and everything else, and I'll tell you that most of the time when we get there and we start talking about it, they say a little bit, and then they go, you just really don't want to know the truth because most people can't handle the truth because it is that demanding on you, because it is that crazy. It is just that insane, and it affects your life forever. And it's affected the people who do know it or have dealt with it. My thoughts on the Tic Tac thing, since I asked you about it, I'll give you mine. I think it's wonderful. I think it's brought some more things towards ufology. The shows that they've done on the History Channel, the 6 short series shows they did were great. But at the same time, I hate it that they label it as how they do. They are looking at it, and the first thing that you hear is the alien threat. The alien threat is always put out there. If you listen to their shows, they're always talking about the alien threat.
Right.
And it goes back. I go back to like 2003. Back when Carolyn Roslin was one of the guests at the Press Club when Stephen Greer did the first disclosure with Clifford Cliff and a few other people that were with Clifford Stone and a few other people. I'm sorry, that were there. And Carolyn Roslin was there, and she had dealt with some things with Walter Brahman. He was talking about false flags, and she was bringing that up. And at the end of her speech, and I challenge anyone to go to it and listen to it and everything else, because it is a great speech, because she talks about it. And the last card
mm-hmm.
is the alien threat. And I hear that. I heard it in 2003, and I went, wow. And now, in 2019, I'm hearing it on TV as they're calling it the alien threat. And that bothers me a lot because, from my experience, I do believe that there are some good people that are trying to make contact with us, and I also believe there's some bad. And through the treaties of Grenada back in Eisenhower's time and some of the other things that we know are facts and we know that are out there, they had a choice. They had a choice that they could, they were visited by a good thing. They wanted to give us free energy, give us a lot of different other stuff, raise our awarenesses, and to prepare us for a better world. And then we had the ones that we were wanting technology and all these things. And I think we struck the deal with the devil ourselves. And so that's what we've been doing. That's why, we suffer all along the thing. UFO secrecy is just not all about the government, black projects, and all these other things that we're redoing. Anything else. It's about people, if they open their mind enough and see what's really going on, dumbing down that they've been doing to us, they have the handle on it because of the fact that we suffer because, look, we could have free energy, but we could have all these certain things. And believe me, There's patents on all of it. Just go do your research. That's the thing I can tell everybody. If you really don't believe what I'm telling you, find it out yourself because it's out there. It is there. Right. Don't call me a conspiracy theory or anything else. Just all I ask is that you dig through the papers, you do a little research, and guess what? You're going to be woken up. You're going to get hit in the head with a 2x4 because you're going to go, holy crap! That crazy man that I heard on that radio show is really talking about the truth.
Yeah.
And we always talk about it. We've talked about it on our show far a few times lately. And the truth is a very hard pill to swallow. It's ugly. It doesn't have, it's not a wonderful thing because it just proves to you that how we've been manipulated and used over a long period of time, and it gets people upset. It's like disclosure. I mean, what would you think if all of a sudden the government came out and said, oh, yes, we have this, and this, and we're flying out in space, and we have a space program, and we have this, and NASA's nothing but a joke. We don't use rockets anymore. It's just there to fool you because you're living in the Matrix. That's what we've created for you. How how many people would freak out and would not in the way of saying, oh gosh, they would be so angry at them that it'd probably start a war within our own thing because they have hidden and hidden so much stuff so that will never come out. The soft disclosure stuff and all this other stuff. And people say, why don't they land on the front yard? Well, we're not ready for that. The human race is not ready for that. There's good and there's evil. The good are sometimes abducting people and everything else and giving them certain things. They have certain things to do. I've spent 40 years investigating cases, and I was abducted when I was 9 years old in 1964, so, and I've had ongoing events. I didn't have one until 1976. And then from there, I had several off and on. But, it's a hard thing to deal with. It's a hard thing to take.
I can't imagine.
And you always have the people that say, oh, they're liars that make up their own things and everything else. Believe me, you can't make up some of the things that we've witnessed and seen and I have pictures of and so forth. Because when you look at what some of these abductees go through, it's just terrible. I have one that I'm working with now in Eastern Kentucky. I've worked with him for the last 3 years now. I mean, that's another thing. A case is never closed, even though, MUFON, we may close the case in MUFON, but we may close any case. So you deal with these people continually because ongoing information, there's always something new coming about. There's always something. These people trusted you to tell them their story, and they become part of your family almost, because you start to care about them, because you see the problems and the trauma that they go through from all this, and it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah, I can imagine, and man, that sounds like another whole show. Like I said, we could talk for hours, and I've got something really weird. After I was telling you about the a friend in the USS Nimitz and all that, my computer, I don't know if we're still recording or not. My computer is on total lockdown. I can't get out of it went to screensaver, and I cannot get back to my actual recording software. So I hope we're still. I hope we're still recording.
To my world.
Well, it's never.
Welcome to my world. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll record on the computer, and I also keep a Zoom mic available, and I put my phone on speaker, and I do it on speakerphone, and I record it on Zoom just in case it does happen that way, because I cannot tell you how many times and people can laugh about it and say, "Oh, geez, he's gone off the deep end again." But believe us, these people, as investigators, the people who are out there searching for the truth, we do have odd anomalies that happen to us. or your computer screens go down. Your computer will go down.
Right.
We've had radio shows cut off.
Well, this is
back in the old days. Art Bell was doing it coast to coast, and all of a sudden they get somebody on there. The next thing you know, you hear that we've just lost all power. We've lost all these things, and then it will come back up again. But yeah, that's all part of what we do, brother. And if you lost it and everything else, I'm glad to go over it all again with you whenever you want, man.
Well, it's just weird.
But that's part of the story. That's part of the story about what we do.
Right.
It's kind of funny. My wife, she knew what I did when she got married to me, and I guess it's been rough on her. And she will sometimes look out front and say, "Who is that in that car? And why are they out there standing there staring at our house with the computer out and doing stuff? Or what have you done now, Bear? What have you talked about? What have you posted?" And we have that problem. We do have that problem.
Well, like this has not happened to me ever before until just right for some reason right after we were talking about my friend.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you another interesting story. I had a guy come over one time and he wanted to do an interview. So what are you doing? Me, and he comes over and brings a video camera over and he brings real nice recording setup, studio, and everything else. And he's got them all plugged in and there's all ready to go, and he's all happy. And I says, that's not going to work. He says, "What do you mean?" I says, "Well, we'll start talking and they're all going to die."
Wow.
Excuse me. And he says, "Oh, you're nuts. I got brand new batteries in this, everything else. They're great. They're ready to go." Sure enough, we start talking, and we mention something, and all of a sudden, now his recorder's dead. His video camera doesn't record anymore. So I just reached over and I grabbed a piece of paper and a pencil, and I said, "Hey, you want to do it the old way?" You got to be kidding me, because I'm right in the center of darn town. 12:30 one night, I'm up and I'm talking, and I'm actually doing your show, and all of a sudden you're and it was right over. It was right down the middle of town. I was like going, and it's about 300 feet off the ground. And I'm like going, "Oh, this isn't good."
Wow.
And my wife heard it, and it was rattling the windows, and she gets up and she goes, "Well, they found you, didn't they?" So it's crazy.
Well,
not how we think. But,
Well, I tell you, I hope this got recorded. Like I said, I don't know what's happened to the past 10 or 15 minutes because my computer's been on the fritz. But
hopefully it is. Hopefully it's.
I hope so, man. But man, I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I know I got to get up early and go make some real money tomorrow. But
hey, no problem. No problem at all. I understand that too.
But Bear, I can't thank you enough for coming on here, man. It's been an honor and it's been fun talking to you. And I hope we can do this again. And I hope you'll come on anytime. You're welcome to come on anytime you want to. And
whatever you want, man. You just call me. I have been busy, but I'm coming up here towards the holidays and everything else. So I made a commitment to myself that I want to take a break and do some things that are just going to be for me. So after I get back from, I've got Phantom Fest in Virginia, November 2nd. After I get back from that, November 2nd, speaking up there, then I'm cleaning green for a while. So if you'd like me back, just give me a holler. I'd be more than happy to do it. It's my honor and pleasure to be on your show tonight, and I thank you once again so much for being so kind and asking me to be on it. It's a pleasure. It truly is. So, and thank you.
You're very welcome. And just real quick, if you want to tell everyone, all two of them that are listening, how they can get in touch with you, or they can follow you. I know you have an incredible radio show called Into the Fire on Blog Talk Radio, but how else can someone get in touch with you?
Yeah, we have Into the Fire on Blog Talk Radio and www.blogtalkradio.com/Into the Fire. We have a Facebook page. It's underneath Bear Gaunt. It's subtitled The Kentucky Truth Seeker. So if you are looking for me and myself, just go to facebook.com/Kentucky KY .truthseeker, and that will take you directly to my Facebook page. If you are into paranormal in any way or want us to investigate any type of paranormal event, Night Stalkers Paranormal, we are also on Facebook as Night Stalkers Paranormal Research. We also do the Mutual UFO Network. I'm the Kentucky State Director, so you can file a report directly with MUFON at MUFON.com. And if you're in the state of Kentucky, you'll hear from us and our wonderful team of investigators here. We also I'm also part of the Society of Supernatural with Todd Allison, with David Weatherly, David Spinks, Kristen Lee. We just lost one of our members, God rest her soul, Rosemary Allen Galley, and also Eric Altman. So we have quite a good group there. We're all about helping others, so do that. And I'm also working, and I'm also do some things with as an admin on Kentucky UFO Reporting Center on Facebook. So you can see me there also.
So needless to say, you've got a little bit going on.
a few, and you can also catch us on the Octagon Hall Facebook page, or if you'd like to look at the Octagon Hall, know more about it, or schedule a hunt, or come to one of our novice hunts, you can do that at www.octagonhallmuseum.com.
Perfect. Well, I'm gonna get up there as soon as I can. I definitely want to come hang out with you up there at Octagon Hall, and
you're welcome anytime, man. You let me know when you can, and we'll be more than happy to put the red carpet down for you.
Well, I need to come to the novice hunt. I want to learn how the big guys do it, and we'll just have a good time, dude.
All right, man. I look forward to it. I really do. And just let me know, and if there's any way I can help you, I'll be more than glad to. And again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And if you'll be back, or if you need me back again, you just call me, and I'm here for you.
All right, sounds great, man. Well, take care and have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Stay with you. Good night, everyone. Good night, Paul. Enjoy your day tomorrow, and thank you all for listening. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye, buddy.
And that's a wrap on tonight's episode. I enjoyed listening and talking to Bear Gaunt out of Kentucky. Great guy. And I apologize for the technical difficulties I had early on. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm just going to let it run. I'm not going to try and edit it out. But there were some glitchy parts in there where I think my computer just shut down and I couldn't get the screen back, but it came back. And I think the rest is history. So thanks again for listening to Mysterious Huntsman. And remember, if you or anyone you know would like to be a guest on the show, please reach out. MysteriousHuntsman@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. You can hear the shows on Buzzsprout, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, most of your major media outlets. All right, thanks for listening, and we'll talk soon.